Hello and welcome to Love Your Food. Today we're going to show you how to make this beautiful Vietnamese style chicken curry soup. And here are the ingredients we're going to be working with today. We've got the galangal root, ground. We've got some kaffir lime leaves and one bay leaf, some curry powder, one large white onion, a stalk of celery, one shallot, one lime, a couple of sweet potatoes, some cilantro, a couple of fingers of ginger, and a few cloves of garlic as well. And of course, we're going to start with our chicken. Now, we prefer the bone-in, skin-on thighs for this. We just like the flavor of that. The meat comes out very nicely at the end after being cooked in the soup. We're going to get a nice coating of salt and pepper on there and put that in a pan, a very hot pan with your very favorite high smoke point oil. We're going to get that nice and seared. The beautiful brown sear on there is going to give a great flavor to your to the soup at the end. So get that in, skin down, and then you're going to want to salt and pepper the other side of that as well. Now we're just going to leave that to cook for a little while. Let it get nice and brown on the skin side. Meanwhile, we're going to move on to our other ingredients. So we're going to chop up our shallot here. All of the ingredients quantities, you're going to be able to find that on our website. We're going to put a link in the description below. So we're just going to peel our shallots, we're going to peel our garlic, and we're also going to peel the ginger. Now, because we're going to be adding the ginger in pretty large pieces to the soup, we don't want any of the little bits of skin in there as well. We're going to do a fairly rough chop for this. It's not going to be diced really, really small. But we definitely want to make sure that we get all of the skin off there. You can also use a peeler for this. So here we go. First round across, we're just going to really quickly do a rough chop. And once we've got everything chopped together, one more pass through. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is all going into the soup. It's all going to cook down together. So it doesn't have to be super small. It also doesn't have to be super accurate. So we're going to add all of those wonderful fragrant ingredients into our soup pot. Again, we're going to use our very favorite high smoke point oil to get that cooking. You can see the sizzle in there. Meanwhile, our chicken is still cooking over on the other element over there, on the burner. So we're going to get a little sizzle on this going around. Give it a little stir to make sure that we get the oil coating all of the ginger, garlic, and shallots. And our onion as well. So here we have one chopped onion. Again, it doesn't have to be super fine. French cut is just fine. It's all going to cook down in the soup. Again, give it a little stir to make sure it gets covered in that oil. And we're going to cover that just to let that onion wilt a little bit. Here we can see the skin side of the chicken has nicely seared. And we move on to the celery. Now this is going to take less time to cook, so we want to add this after the onions. And this just gives a really nice fresh flavor to the whole soup. So you can see the onions have started to cook, but they're still pretty firm. But now's a great time to add a little bit of salt in there. So we're going to salt the onions and celery on top there. Give it a good stir, make sure everything's covered in the oil that has all the flavor from the ginger and the garlic and shallots. And get that salt well mixed in there as well. Our chicken is almost done. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through. It will finish in the soup. So now we're going to add the galangal powder in there. The bay leaf, you want to give that a good bruise. Pop that in. And our kaffir lime leaves. We're going to add about 2/3 of our curry powder to let it cook with the soup. Now you can use whatever your favorite curry powder is. There are lots of different brands. Every store will have a lot of different ones. Really just use your favorite here. Give everything a good mix. Make sure that curry powder is coating all those nice vegetables in there. You can see the onions have started to cook, but they're still pretty firm. So we're just going to let that cook. Meanwhile, we can start preparing our sweet potatoes. We're just going to cut that into pretty big pieces after it's been peeled. If you ever had this at a restaurant, you get those nice big tender pieces of sweet potato in there. So our onions have been cooking for a little while. You can see here they're all starting to wilt in there, getting nice and soft. That's just about where we want it. That's excellent. Perfect. So we're going to move on now to add our chicken stock. So you can make your own chicken stock. It's not all that hard. We will do some videos on stock making later. But if you're not into doing that, as we're doing here, you're perfectly fine to use store-bought stock. We like the low sodium version. We find the regular just has too much salt in it. Now we can add our sweet potatoes. And give it a little stir. And we're also going to add our chicken now. So again, it doesn't matter if it's not completely cooked all the way through. It should be pretty close, but if it's not cooked all the way through, that's fine. It will finish in the soup. And the last thing before we cover it up, we're just going to add a few more ingredients here. So we've got some soy sauce, some fish sauce, coconut milk, lime juice, and the rest of our curry powder. So there we go. We've got everything up to a simmer now after adding all of our ingredients. You can see the chicken skins starting to come off. That's not a big problem. They'll come off into the soup. So first we're going to finish off with the rest of the curry powder. And we're going to use most of our lime juice in here, probably about 2/3 or 3/4, and the rest we're going to use for flavor arrangement later. 1 can of coconut milk or coconut cream if you want it a little bit creamier, a little thicker at the end result. Give everything a little stir. Now is a really great time to give it all a taste and see exactly where we are. So make sure everything's nicely blended in there. And we're going to give this a little taste just to see where we're at. And now is when we're going to be adjusting the flavor with a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of fish sauce. So a little dash of soy, just to give it a little more richness, and a little dash of the fish sauce as well. If you don't want to use fish sauce, you can also use something like Worcester sauce in here. It'll have a similar effect. Okay, give it a good stir. Give it another little taste just to see where we're at. Fantastic. So everything seems to be in order here. We're going to cover that up, and that can cook for a couple of hours, honestly, until the chicken is cooked. So here we go. We're serving that over some rice. Everyone should get a nice chicken thigh in there. A couple of nice big pieces of extremely tender sweet potato as well. And we're going to cover that with a little bit of that cilantro that we were looking at the beginning. Nice chopped cilantro on top as a little garnish. And there you have it. That's our restaurant-style Vietnamese chicken curry. So please like and subscribe for more great recipes coming soon. Also, please let us know in the comments if there are any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb do on our channel. And as always, love your food.